Hello there, folks. Welcome to our historic Brawl. Commander Killian Duelist, which is a 2/2 lifelink menace, makes spells you cast target a creature cost 2 less to cast. Offensive, defensive. So we've got a little mix of auras, removal, buffs, that kind of thing in general. And and when we're talking buffs, like we're accounting for 2 mana cost here when we're doing the big buffs. We're doing things that actually, like, we're playing Knightly Valor and it's good. That's the kind of thing we're doing. That said, the rest of the deck tech, end of the video because this is a 100 card pile. I'm going to start including with the Brawl decks, or Rule 0, the matches that you want to run into and the ones that we're just going to completely avoid. And that is removal piles. No Turgrids, no board wipes, no shrines, just go away. If you have board wipes in your deck, we don't want to play with you. That said, let's get in some games. All right, we're in on the draw. We have Strom is a bit of a bonus here. Keep. You know what? I want to play aggressive with Slayer's Bounty. Or Legion's Landing's probably a little better. Yeah, we can do Slayer's Bounty later. I just kind of wanted some insight, like, did they have Risen Reap in their Omnath deck, like, on turn 3, no problem, didn't have it? That kind of thing. Simple Serpent, that's fine. It's not something I'm worried about. Anyways, Killian. And no attacks. Let's see what kind of, okay, not doing anything. Yeah, we can, Strom Withercrown. It really doesn't change anything about the creature, but whatever. Send in Killian with the lovely menace. Technically, that card is probably, yeah, it's probably worth it for my opponent to keep it around. Okay, Omnath Locust the Royal is here. I would like to probably affect something about it. Wandering Emperor is an interesting way to do said thing. Play Eiganjo. I want to see if I can find something off Slayer's Bounty that'll deal with it quite nicely. Okay, so they have Toski, Creator of Behemoth. Lovely. Reprobation. That's the what I'll want. Thank you. And it just becomes an 0-1 nothing. Precipitous Drop is a nice little pick up. So these can attack and block. We leave this be for now. This will do. Satoshi, probably the same idea. Face Fetters or some nonsense like that. We could Precipitous Drop it, actually. That'd probably be smarter. They're using a fight spell? Looks like a fight spell. They target their creature straight to my creature. Sure. Take action. Got it. They still not attacking. Alright, well, whatever. Let's see what happens when we buff it up a little then. Continue. I mean, we're getting in some points. Escape to the Wilds. Okay, this is where it gets nutty and we have to care. There's a fling in that, I see. Storm's Wrath. That's relevant. Storm's Wrath and fling. Okay. Then, in that case, what can we do about that? We can Rune of Mortality, Killian. We're probably losing Srom here, but I'm going to Wandering Emperor the... Yeah, I'm going to Wandering Emperor. No, that kills that too. Alright. Then what else can we do? It's a lot of white mana we have. Need to deal with this Stonecoil Serpent, I think. It's just in the way. Or Spirit Dancer, you say. Alright. I want to scry. Found in gold is good. I'll take it. And then elocution doesn't work. So we'll do this. We'll force that wrath out of them. I think. Maybe. We trade the Wandering Emperor to keep Killian in play. They can't cast the wrath as of current, though, so they'll have to, like, cultivate it. But something like that. Yeah. But the idea is that this is going to get wildly out of control for them now. So I'll save Killian. Done! Done! Did it! Okay. So Shefet Dunes. Core Spirit Dancer really kind of needs their stuff in play as of current. So I'll play Twin Blade Geist for now. Sending Killian for another 5. Yeah, well, Core Spirit Dancer will continue to draw cards. Exhilarating Elocution also can do some damage here. Opponent putting the Twin Blade Geist in the graveyard, exactly where I want it. Okay, bumping up that. We're telling something, so whatever. We need this black source. That's important. We're going to buff Killian. So now we just need 1 point of damage, and that's it. I mean, easy. There we go. Done! Okay, we're on the draw. We're against Tulane. Card of... I love how they do this. It's Banned Obnoxiousness, basically. We have Light Paws to help this. Yeah, keep fine. It's Campus. Get Killian. Kinnan. Okay, we gotta make a pit stop. We'll get a scry, get some more lands here, and so on. Implant. It's not fast. In fact, it's one of the slowest cards in the deck. It's, yeah, if there's nothing going on, but we're in the early turns where we're just button heads currently. It seems that they probably got stuck now. Were they trying to do something with Kinnan? Anyway. Yeah, it seems they're broken. They're unbroken! Not more visionary, that's fine. Oh, Concealed Courtyard? Sure. So we'll take you. Take Hateful Eidolon, which I would have liked the sequence where we had Precipitous Drop, but you know, we just can't get everything here. Helm of the Host, that's a little obnoxious, but sure. They have no white mana currently. Swing in, we'll use Emperor offensively. Nope, guess not. Do I still want Emperor? Yeah, I kind of think I do. No? Yes? Yeah. For now, I kind of do. I was strongly sure. Sure, buddy. Okay. Lots of mana dorks. Intercessor's Arrest. Huh. Okay. So, light pause. Arrest. Helm. No. I can't detach it yet. Oh, I know how I can do this. Arrest Helm of the Host. I can't do that because I don't have enough mana. Right. Because I have to target a creature for it. So I can force them to equip. Alright. Buff this. Esper Sentinel. It's no good way of doing this right now. I'm just going to arrest the Druid of the Cowl. Just so I can swing through. Take action. Let's see. What do we want? Ooh, that's not bad. But Cartouche of Ambition's close, but no cigar. All the glitters? We have... All the glitters can do a little. Change my opponent's pace a little bit. Yeah, let's see if that changes their pace just a little bit. Light Paw's looking a little scary now. So we're going to attempt to kill them before this obnoxiousness actually matters. Well, that's what we're hoping here. See if we could just get past this. Shocking in. So is that a Tulane straight up now? It is. So let's hope that they don't chain off too heavily here. Dire Engineer. Yeah. Makes the thing. Has haste, so they can spend 2 more mana, get 3 more blockers. Foretelling. Okay. Elocution, the Hateful Eidolon. Light Pause triggers. Take action. Q Battlefield. What are you? You're a 1/1? Perfect. Now that is when we pick up. I know they may be pulling a Wrath. We're just gonna kind of just let the where is it? Oh, never mind. It's the wrong mana cost. Flying then? That changes my plans just slightly. Okay. Verify there's no reach. There's no reach. You dead? Okay, you're dead. Alright, we're on the play, which is good versus Ishin, Two Heavens is One, which doubles combat. Triggers? This is really, really, really good, by the way. This hand is actually quite spectacular. Anyways, yeah, wanted to point out that, you know, there's some matches I don't play, so I wanted to kind of just point them out, because why not? You might be interested. So the games I ruled zeroed were Turgid and a Hinata. I'm not about those. Those are miserable matches, and when I say miserable, like, there's just no joy to be had whatsoever there. Right. So we have an opportunity to do, you know what? We'll just Knightly Valor Killian right now. That works. That makes another creature on the table, as I wish it. Imperial Blade Master. Your double strike has no power here whatsoever. Anyways, we're going to Rune Mortality the little guy, just to make them a threat. You know what? I'm just going to jam the other one on there too. Why not? What a turn! That's pretty impressive. So, if we get them into the void, we could possibly unholy indenture them straight into the abyss. That'd be funny. No, because they played their commander, so it doesn't really apply much. Okay, so we want save Kinnan. Necrosynthesis on you, as you'll get the growth. So death protection and then growth on death, and then we're just gonna, yeah. Really? That's pretty brave, opponent. Pretty brave. What have you got that's so impressive from here? You are at 2. My creature comes back if you wrath. You are now in the abyss. Unless they're settle the wreckage. Which case, yeah. Well, I'll send the 4/4 and see what they do. After that, we're dropping Twin Blade Geist. Okay, Teferi's protection is fine. I can handle that. Next, and Twin Blade Geist. End the turn. Okay, assumed settle, but Teferi's protection is a little easier. So they bought a turn, but it used their entire turn because all their mana seems to be pretty awkward and they have gigantic something in their hand. Yawgmoth's Vile Offering, bringing back the Thing, which coincidentally we're going to decline. Gets 5 power, and Killian comes back. Okay, so if they block Killian here with the Menace, then these come off. If they block these, then yeah, they're dead. Turns out we're way better at combat than Ishin. I haven't seen Ishin good at combat yet. Done. Okay, well, we're in on the play versus probably the least obnoxious of about 4 or 5 games of just pure control decks. Like, various commanders, they're all like, I'm going to have a board wipe in my deck from mana cost 1 to 15. You know, those decks that are just like, yeah, I'm never untapping with anything ever. And we need to be able to untap once in a while. So we're going to take the least obnoxious and we're going to go against this deck. It's probably quite obnoxious, but we're going to do what we can. It just does stupid. It's a stupid Simic deck is basically to define what they're playing currently. Anyways, opponent. Green mana, Llanowar Elves on 1. That's pretty convenient. We can Silverquill it if they don't play another creature. Otherwise, what do we have? Inevitable End? Tireless Provisioner. Okay, so Arrest doesn't prevent Llanowar Elves' mana ability. We have an unfortunate tap land here, so we have to play differently here. Attacker blocking activities abilities can't be activated, but I want to deal with the landfall, idiot. And Arrest just doesn't let me do any of that. They may just want to keep their mana? I don't know. We're ending this one. We'll save a rest for something else for now. And hopefully we can command the next thing. Give them the option. If they sack Llanowar Elves, they'll have this decision next turn. Cool. That's an important card to get rid of, because they can landfall a bunch of treasure tokens, and it's just basically like ramp. Incubation Druid. Okay. Yet another. And they have 2 mana for what? May want to fire another Silverquill or something here. Explore. Okay. So we're not stopping them. It's just never going to happen. Necrosynth is an option. Necrosynth Silverquill? That could be interesting. Just keep their mana small. Okay, so our creature gains flying. You sacrifice a creature. Killian will get a counter from the Necrosynth whatever. There we go. So my intent is to end this game. So Binding stops mana abilities, right? Yes. Intercessor's Arrest does not. And then we have Bake into a Pie. End all be all. Timeless Witness. Okay. They're bringing back what? Llanowar Elf? Okay. So thick on the mana. I need mana. You know, let's try. Pounding Gold. Mana abilities once again. Here he's binding that. Swing in. If they double block, then we shut them down on a little bit of mana, but, you know, whatever. We'll see where this goes. They go for it. Well, almost didn't expect that to happen, but it happened. Alright, so we get to look at the top X, and there's our land. That's all we wanted. That is all we wanted this whole time. Thank you. So, just trying to stop the obnoxious deck. Okay, whatever. You're gonna, like, saw it coming with me? Absorb energy. So now we're going to be counterspell tribaled. Lovely. Well, we'll try to shut down what we can. They gotta stop playing Mana Dork so that my pacifisms actually work. Alright, well. Here's another one. That fired this time. Sure, opponent, sure. Okay, Unholy Indenture doesn't quite work against them. Not really. Alright, swing in. I'm at 38. I might as well just Locthwain or something. I don't know. Keep Bake into a Pie, otherwise Locthwain. Abundant Harvest. If you still need lands, I don't know. Sure, buddy. It was Alrund's Epiphany. Well, it's not very good currently, but sure. Alrund's Epiphany wasn't very good there. If I'm willing to Locthwain with nearly a full grip, then it wasn't very good. We'll see. But I definitely need to get on the offensive somehow. Timeless Witness has the potential to come back. Jodsey comes in. Okay. So I could put her back in hand. Just to deal with her. You know what? Let's just Locthwain. Let's have more to do. Minimus Containment will do it. That's all I got right now, is to just try to tax them a little. They let it happen, which gives us the ability to tax it even more. Okay. Go no indenture. And send in. Cool. This converts Killian into a 3-3 at the very least. I'm trying to... I think our option for beating the obnoxiousness might be gone now. Internalize something or other. Oh, they put it into the graveyard. Well, that's dangerous, but sure. Okay, it's into your hand. You just spent that much mana, or you could have just cast your commander, whatever. I mean, whatever. Okay. Accelerating Elocution, you say. Bounding Gold U. Another counterspell? Elocution? It's just all we got right now. Trying to burn some cards, get a Locthwain live here. Swing! So we're gaining plenty of life to make that happen. Okay, so the obnoxious thing comes back. Copying spells or some nonsense like that. What's it do? Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it by paying 1. Okay. And they've got counter spells, so whatever. You know, the smallest insight for that kind of thing. Rest. Goes forward, I'd rather save for something else if I could prefer that kind of thing. Let's see if we can get something else. The Wandering Emperor, you say? It's not terrible. So all their stuff is pacifism as of current. I think I want to keep Killian in play. just in a generic sense. Okay. With the crown. I'm trying to tax it. Give it commander tax. Get it out of here. You can bounce it back to your hand and all that, but, you know, at least I'm taxing your mana like crazy. So they sacked it, and it went to the yard, and they're done. Okay. Okay, we're in on the play versus Kaedai's Soul of Kamigawa, which is the new flavor of the week for 5-color good stuff. Long story short. We're keeping this. It's got some pretty potent stuff in here. And also some really good mana where we may be able to get Celestial Mantle real freaking early. Also a Light Pause. That's a Light Pause. Ifnir Deadlands. Where do we want to go with this? We have black mana only. I guess we can Unholy Indenture for now. So we'll do it this way. Light Pause. There's no stick there, so we're good there. We're going to buff Light Pause, because Light Pause, if you draw it in this deck, is just, you take it. We take the action. So we have an Unholy Indenture to buff. We can buff some more. What can we do that's going to kind of give us a little bit of oomph? What's gonna do it? We can block that red with Glaring Aegis. Or we can just draw a card. That's fine. Alright. Try to get that triple white at some point. Get Killian buffed. So let's see if they even cast anything. Shocking in, Moon-Blessed Cleric, looking for an enchantment card, so we know what their next draw is, and it's an enchantment. So Heliod's Pilgrim, what would I tutor for that's real good? Borrowed Time. Okay. So how do we buff for that? With a crown. I guess we just do Obnoxious. Guess we just do Obnoxious. Kai's goes for him. Try to borrow time it now. Legion's Landing. Necrosynth. You. Take that action. What do we want to do? Probably want to get that thing out of the way. So, a Glaring Aegis is tempting. This one's also pretty tempting to just get it available. Skyblade's Boon, and then we can just cast it many, many times. Yeah, we'll take Skyblade's Boon with some flying. We get our evasion while we get a card that we can get back later through the removal. Not to mention we get Light Pods back. So there's that. So their board time's going to be super slow here. Kai's Ghost Form's on it. Skyblade Boon to the yard. Light Pause is back. So it gets Boon back. And then we Light Pause. And then we take that action. And then I think we're just going to all the glitters. I think we're just going to hit them. Oh, look, a Legion's Landing. Nice. Takenuma, do I care about it right now? I think we're at the point where I can just play Takenuma and then play auras on random token from Eiganjo the First Fort. I think we're somewhere around there. Hundred of Cleansing Fire. I'll show you some Cleansing Fire right about now. Here's some Cleansing Fire. Take that action. Angelic Reward. BAM! That's some Cleansing Fire! Okay, now for the deck tech, although I'll say for a note that like I said, I had a previous video, mic was muted, I had to scrap the whole thing, so I've been trying to do this at breakneck speed, so that's where I'm kind of including this Rule 0, where ain't got no time for that, and just moving on from these control decks that are just like, oh, your thing's dead, your thing's dead. We don't have game against that. We're not playing against control. You see Turgid, you walk away. In fact, you know what? If you're playing any deck and you see Turgid from the other side, walk away. Literally, just walk away. It's not worth it. Nobody likes playing against Turgid. That is literally how you lose friends and nobody plays with you ever again, and then you have a useless Turgid. Stop playing Turgid! All right, now that that's over with. Okay, so deck is all about buffs, debuffs, and auras, and all that kind of stuff. And we're working in that general sense where we're trying to kind of get a little sneaky value here and there as it goes. So since everything costs 2 less, take into account this is where all our 1-drops are. 2 drops, 3 drops, 4 drops. Effectively, barring whatever doesn't target a creature. So just always bear that in mind with each card, and looking at the pips, looking at the effect, and reevaluating. So that's where we play Killian. And Killian comes out early, which usually means we get something out of it a lot of times. So, that said, Esper Sentinel, 1-drop, very good 1-drop, and probably one of those things that really, really annoys opponents that are a little bit spell heavy. Glaring Aegis is just that kind of boop you out of the way. If you're playing some Voltron, creature deck, we just knock it out of the way. Legion's Landing, keep in mind with all these buffs, we are buffing our creature. We're not doing it as much as like an actual Auras deck, so keep that in mind. But it's nice to have little life linkers and things like Eiganjo the First Fort to give us tokens. Anyway, Slayer's Bounty is one of these cards that's secretly really good with Killian. So, I'm going to explain this one because it's one of those alchemy cards, and it's one of those alchemy cards that hasn't technically seen play. So when it comes into play, it's technically a clue itself. When it comes into play, look at your opponent's hand for creature cards. That's all you get to see is their creature cards in hand. So when you turn 1 this and you hit your opponent and you see 0 creatures, that's probably when you fire that Rule 0 of getting the hell out. That's one example of it. Anyways, when you sacrifice Slayer's Bounty or another clue, we don't have another clue, then we get to draft a card from the Bounty spellbook, and it has the clue text, sacrifice, draw a card. Now, the spellbook has Bounty Agent, but that's not where we're at. Killian sort of thing. Killian. Well, that doesn't work with Killian, but a number of these work with Killian. Reprobation's a real good one to knock out opponents' commanders. So, that's another thing. But yeah, there's a number of cards here that they fit in line with Killian, and this is why Slayer's Bounty is good in this deck, because it's basically a divination, not to mention the spell that you get off it is usually reduced in cost in one way or another. So, heads up. Also, you can get a couple creatures or whatever you want to fill out your board a little bit. Anyway, Clawing Torment, it's a cheap spell, and it's meant to knock out Llanowar Elves. That kind of thing. Just really, really cheap stuff. Just knock it out. That's what its intended effect is. It's not great, but hopefully you draw one of your card draw aura things and get to move on. Hateful Eidolon. I have yet to draw a card with this, but when you do get to draw a card, it's usually pretty devastating. A swing. So yeah, whenever Enchanted Creature dies, unenchanted creature dies either side, draw a card for each aura you controlled that was attached to it. So yeah, when our creatures die, when their creatures die. Problem is that every match that I've played, drawn it, they've literally just played bounce. And it's just like, wow, you're the one guy that's playing bounce. Great, thanks. You're real chum. All right, guys, goes for him. Obviously, just meant to keep everything alive and kicking, and your opponent conceding when the train doesn't stop and the party keeps going. Anyway, March of Otherworldly Light, just some removal. All the glitters, buff up with some of the auras, convictions, that nice little thing. If you get that engine with something like Core Spirit Dancer, then so be it. Then you get to keep drawing some cards. And when it costs 1 mana to play, 1 mana to return, that's pretty good. Griffin Airy is one of those things where you would play a play sequence of Killian into Griffin Airy plus a +1 aura of some sort. Swing in, gain the life, make a token, and it makes this kind of thing where it just runs out of control. So one of those scenarios. So Griffin Airy fits in this deck quite well just because of lifelink alone. Core Spirit Dancer, draws cards. Light Pause is spectacular, as anyone knows, and is especially spectacular in Brawl, and especially spectacular if it's your commander. We got 2 out of 3. I'd say that's good enough. Michiko's Reign of Truth, nice little bump, and try to get some creatures dead or your opponent dead, whichever one. Maybe even a planeswalker dead every occasionally, or make your opponent discard a card and you lose a creature, however it is in response. Reprobation, another one in the main. We got Skyblade's Boon. This is +1/+1 flying. It's kind of like Griff's Boon. Actually, it kind of is Griff's Boon, isn't it? Huh. Okay, never mind. Okay, yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, +1/+1 flying, and you get to get it back. Spectral Steel is +2/+2, but additionally you get to exile it from your graveyard to return another aura from your graveyard to your hand. Equipment as well, but we're really not playing much in the way of equipment. Srom is another Core Spirit Dancer, basically. Twin Blade Geist is double strike, and on the flip side with Disturb, you get to give something double strike, which is really nice with a few auras, of course. Precipitous Drop is just some removal, and based on how we fire the these, we may use something short term like the Dungeon of the Mad Mage for Chapter 1. We're only going in the first room, so we're either gaining a life, scrying 1, or losing a life based on this. It's our only dungeon card. Mire's Grasp, just some kill. Necrosynthesis, which is I don't know what this effect is. When another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Now, that's any of the creatures on both sides of the table. So if your opponent's killing some other creatures, like I usually throw this on like the token for Legion's Landing, just the 1/1, and then they go kill something else like Killian, and it just kind of bumps up a little bit. So little things like that. And then when it dies, look at the top X card to your library, where X is power, put a card in, and then the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. So you get a replacement card. And so yeah, Necrosynthesis is just one of those cards that technically replaces itself while also potentially getting your stuff bigger. Rune of Mortality is another cantrip, of course, only more immediate, also giving you the Death Touch, which is a little helpful. Anyway. Wither Crown makes a creature's power base 0, and then they can choose to sacrifice it during their upkeeps, unless they feel like there's some power behind it. They can use it as a blocker, for example, and maybe losing 1 life is a net gain over, being able to net gain over not having it there to block. So maybe we don't draw our powerful cards. Then they would usually keep that in play. That's the situations where they keep it in play. Exceptions. Base power 0. The specific example I'm speaking of is plus counters that made it a little power. So that's how you get around it. There you go. Anyways, they'll still get dinged a little while, so at least you're still taxing them a little bit while you come up with something better. Maybe your draw's not perfect. So anyway, Wither Crown's still all right. There's not a lot of options in black-white, guys. It is what it is. I try my best. Bound in Gold, we're going to have a number of effects that are very similar here. So these are basically our 1-mana removal spells, as you were, for creatures, and then occasionally they target some other stuff for a little bit more, and we just kind of got to try our best to keep it in mind that it costs 2 different values within the deck. So enchant permanent, this happens a lot, but there's going to be a few of them with different caveats. Can't attack, block, crew vehicles, activate abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. Sure. So that'll be template that we run into, and we'll note some exceptions later. We got Dub, which is, again, 1 mana, and then +2/+2 first strike and night in addition to its other types. This is a really good card for the turn you untap with Killian. Very good. It's very helpful. Heliod's Pilgrim is just a tutor for an aura card, which I can't stress enough is real good. And Successor's Arrest. This is basically Bound in Gold again. And Light of Promise, this is whenever you gain life, put that many counters on this creature. When it's Killian as your commander, and you're always playing Killian on 2, and you untap and pay 1 mana to give it this and start growing it, that's pretty good. We'll take it. Like, we do have some elements of the life gain deck, but we're kind of picking and choosing the ones that are good for us, basically. We're not really training ourselves to be a life gain deck. We're just kind of taking a couple random bonuses that are really, really good. Minimus Containment turns a non-land permanent into a treasure and loses all other abilities. So another pacifism, if you were, or Bound in Gold, or however. But obviously a lot more strength behind this one. And but the downside is that you ramp them a little bit. So up in the air. Redain, God of the Worthy. This one I put in here for the non-creature spells your opponents cast with mana value 4 or greater, cost 2 more to cast. That is the whole reason this card's in here, is to slow down opponents doing that. Has it served its purpose? Once or twice, sure. It's definitely come up. Has it been kind of whatever? It's been an okay card. I would consider finding something better if you like. I don't know what that is yet. I made the deck in 10 minutes. What can I say? Like, there's probably better out there. The idea is play a healthy mix, and Killian's probably a reasonable deck. Catilda is just that card that gets stronger for enchantments and spirits in play. Well, I mean, we only got a couple spirits, but we have a number of enchantments. And also has Disturb, and also Killian sees Disturb as a target on a creature, which gets a cost reduction. So Catilda gets a little bit better than normal here. Well, that said, a little better than normal or a little worse than normal. Not sure. We'll see. Nahiri's Binding, just another one of those effective pacifisms, but it's pretty much a hard lock on everything. Nahiri's Binding says no, just no. But it doesn't prevent loses, or it doesn't create a situation of loses all abilities. That's the only difference. Cartouche of Ambition, nice way to knock out those decks that have a lot of little shitters on the table. You just get to give yourself some lifelink, depending on target, if that even does anything in this deck. But it also gives a -1/-1. Now, the fact that we have Light Pause in the deck is kind of the reason I have this in the deck as well. Like, it's a reasonable card, and for 1 mana, really reasonable. Inevitable End, just this thing where you place this on their most valuable creature and see how much they feel it's valuable. So pretty good there. Inscription of Ruin. Now, Inscription of Ruin, this one's actually an interesting one. This one plays to Killian a little bit better. So this one's got 3 modes, and if you do the kicker, you get to choose all 3. Now, one of those modes says destroy target creature with mana value 3 or less. That's where Killian's cost reduction comes in and turns this into a 5 mana with kicker. So that's 5 mana with kicker is an Inscription of Ruin that's very reasonably likely to be cast in a game. So there you go. Minion's Return is just another card where we say no, stop killing my stuff. We play it on there and just have some insurance so that stuff comes back. Stab Wound is one of those cards that we can create a scenario where we bleed our opponent slowly, as it says Stab Wound. Anyways, creature gets -2/-2. Should that creature survive it, this is usually on those creatures that are big enough that we care to give them -2/-2, and not important enough that not important enough that we have to kill it outright. So Stab Wound does that, and then we just slowly beleaguer our opponents. This is one of those things that during a board stall that's pretty decent, so that you knock something down in a peg, and there you go. I've yet to see someone try to do some suicide attacks with that stuff just to deal with it. Anyway. Unholy Indenture, another thing that's just like a Kai's Ghost form, bring it back. Candlelight Vigil is another cheap buff. So when you put this on Killian on turn 3, +3/+2, making him a 5/4 lifelink menace vigilance is pretty hefty. So we do have, like, where we don't have a lot of auras, we have strong auras. This is where the good auras is generally at. Anyways, we have Faith's Fetters, just another pacifism-like ability, but we gain 4 life with it. Halvar is our second double strike thing, where if it's enchanted or equipped, it gets double strike. So that's where things get a little more powerful there. And Halvar can move some auras around as we please, so we can fine-tune things if we don't like what our decisions were earlier and we want to reassess. Like, you know, if the opponent's got some auras on them and we just want to move them all around. Yeah. Okay, anyways, moving on. Wandering Emperor. Can't say enough about this card. It's just spectacular in general sense, but there's also that part where it's going to cost full value, basically, at all times. But it's that thing where the opponent finally gets 2 creatures in play, and we swing in offering a trade. No, it's not. It's not a trade. And so, yeah, we get that first strike, knock out the thing, win the combat. You know how it is. That we're actually using it for the +1. Now, I mean, we can use it for the other things, but usually we're trying to be on the front foot, so the +1 is pretty important to us. Eat to Extinction, just some standard removal with the Surveil. That's pretty good. And cost 2, of course. Parasitic Implant is probably the weakest card in this deck by a long shot. And occasionally it's all right to have. Like, it's one of those cards that's like, I want to deal with that creature, but I don't care when. But obviously that's just not the way Magic plays as much anymore. So in my 10 minutes of building this deck, I would say this is a regret card. Totally. Price of Fame, this card gets a number of cost reductions with Killian in play, where if we're targeting their commander, this is just a fatal push. Yeah. Bake into a pie, creates a food token just in case we need life. We don't usually need life unless we just lost straight up, but it doesn't hurt to have it for something like Michiko's Reign of Truth, all the glitters, stuff like that. So it's a little extra, you know, percentage points, if you were. So the score, we don't have many planeswalkers, but hey, whatever. Exiles creature, put 2 loyalty counters on that planeswalker. Why not? If the stars happen to align, like we have a bunch of 2-mana removals, as you can see. So why not just kind of throw some, you know, upsides to them? Why not? Twisted Embrace, again, just another kill spell with upside. Also kills a planeswalker, I'd like to add. Well, that said, it has to ETB, so it's an aura that is, it's dependent on, it's a fight spell, if you were. If this were green, it would be a fight spell. Deal its damage to something else. And similar idea. So, yeah, Twisted Embrace, same strategy, and we still play fight spells, especially 2-mana fight spells that give +1/+1. So, yeah. Exhilarating Elocution, this is one of those things where if we gets better if we get some of our creatures out, but if not, that's totally fine. So it puts 2 counters on target creature, and then other creatures we control get +1/+1 till end of turn. Not bad. Silverquill Command is kind of locked if we're trying to cast it early game, like if we're trying to get rid of an early game mana dork, for example. Then we have to target our Killian pretty quick. Target our Killian to make it cost 2, so it gets +3/+3, gates flying till end of turn. That's, you know, that's twist your rubber arm sort of thing for that mode. Why not, right? And then the second mode, in that case, usually target opponent sacrifice a creature. But hey, maybe we have really nothing to do because our opponent just cast a mana rock or something. We don't have anything really cool because we have some offensive cards and, you know, more of our interaction in our hand or something like that. We can draw a card, lose life, and move on. So, and then there's the Reanimate, which is always all right, I suppose, like if something ever went in there. But again, all my creatures get bounced or exiled, so I have no idea how that effect or that mode works in this. Anyway, Knightly Valor makes a token, gives creature +2/+2 in Vigilance, and we can cast it on turn 3 off Killian, so we can turn Killian into a 4/4 Vigilance stats with that lifelink, and get a 2/2 out of it, so an extra body. That's pretty good for 3 mana. That's really good for 3 mana. Angelic Reward, same rate, of course, and +3/+3 in flying, so it gets that nice evasion. Really nice evasion. Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. You reanimate a creature or planeswalker from a graveyard and destroy up to 1 target creature or planeswalker. We have to exile the card. That's fine. And it's a legendary sorcery, so we have to have a legend planeswalker or creature in play to cast it. Obviously, this works a little better in Commander, as you know, we have a cheap Commander, so it's quite likely to happen. So yeah, we can turn 3 this if we absolutely needed to, as long as it targets a creature. So yeah, this is 3 mana, and it's a really good effect for 3 mana, especially when you do a Raise Dead out of your opponent's graveyard for whatever high-end value obnoxiousness they're doing. Yeah, or some of your really powerful things like getting Lolth back for 3 freaking mana and killing something, or another example. So Lolth as just puts in. I needed creature presence. This was how I decided to choose that creature presence while still getting to draw a card. Lolth fits fine in the deck. We have plenty of action to do. So, yeah, it works great. Closing Statement is one of those cards that costs 2 less to cast during your end step and 2 less to cast if it targets a creature. So, oftentimes it can be 3 mana, and then a number of times it's just 2 mana and destroy creature or planeswalker you don't control, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you do control. So we can cast this mid-combat if we wanted to really break up some attacks. Always available. Rise to Glory. Again, I don't know how the reanimate works on this card because everything I get is bounced or killed. Or exiled, I should say. I have never gotten anything into the graveyard. So, choose a creature. Return target creature from our graveyard to the battlefield, which is going to be a lot of our little stuff. And then return target aura from our graveyard to the battlefield. So we can choose one or both, and sometimes those auras are real good, especially if they're ones that kill creatures. So something like we could take a Mire's Grasp that killed a creature earlier, and then we can Rise to Glory, bring that back, kill another creature. So we can turn this into an offensive spell as well. So that's an option. It's full price, 5 mana. It is what it is. Celestial Mantle, a little hard to cast. I think we had a little trouble in the video for it. If I played it in the video, I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, +3/+3 whenever enchanted creature deals combat damage to a player, double its controller's life total. Now, theoretically, with proper lands, get the right dual lands, you can get this on turn 3, swinging on Killian for 5, which puts you to 30. Which then gets doubled to 60. Nice turn 3. That can happen. So that's the ceiling on this card. The floor is obviously, kill in response. But yeah, that's a pretty hefty ceiling. So, Duelist Citadel. Basically, with the amount of life we gain off of Killian in a number of scenarios, we're usually pretty high in life total. The problem is trying to keep that engine going, keep the cards going. And Duelist Citadel is just like, you know what? All that life you gain, bam! Let's just drop everything. Let's just drop the hammer and just drop a bunch of stuff and swing this board presence in our favor. Definitely works. The sacrifice 10 permanents, it can come up with a bunch of auras if the opponent doesn't interact. Possibly. Never know how opponent's decks go. Anyway, lands, Ardenvale, Eiganjo, Locthwain, Ifnir Deadlands, Shefet Dunes, I forgot that one. It's not, I don't think I've ever cracked Shefet Dunes in this deck, but it's totally a thing. It's there, why not, right? Takenuma, and Temple of Silence, Silverquill Campus, and those are the lands that do kind of something other than mana. Anyway, that's the deck, and like I said, I didn't put much time into it, but I didn't have much time left for getting this together, so I tried to slam it together. I got the video. It looked good. This time we had a harder time, but hey, whatever. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.